Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. That is us. That is our name. This is your number one South African cricket podcast. This week we had a very special week because a lot of players we've interviewed on the show. Neil Brunt, Dane Patterson,
Dan
who
Pitt.
else was Dane Pete, are all in action for the Proteas, getting either some of their caps back or whatever it is. We've also got guys like Sean von Berg, who we forgot about, who is not in action, but he's there, as well, who we've interviewed. And so it's an interesting time. And if you want to go back, you can access all those. You can access and you can follow us on X on the Full Quota Pod, or subscribe to One World Sports Radio YouTube channel, which has all the videos that of all the cricketers that we've interviewed. Some are in New Zealand, others are helping teams in the SA20. And then on top of that, if you're an audio person, you can go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts at Apple Podcast, a Full Quarter Podcast, written out like that. You'll find us and have a listen. Please do review, send us your comments, send us everything, what you think and what we can improve as we go along. It's been an interesting week in South African cricket. We've had the men's test team start a test match while players are playing in the SA20. Normally, when the national men's team plays, everything stops. So that was an interesting time. And then on top of that, we've had the SA Women play in their first ODI. They didn't do that well. And then we've also had the SA19. We're going to talk about that before we do anything. Tim, how are you doing?
Despite Liverpool getting thrashed last night,
I don't want
I'm
to bring it up.
No,
I don't want to bring it up.
I gotta bring it up. Yeah. Despite that result, I'm doing all right.
Can Jurgen Klopp coach our women's team? We might need, some gegenpressing there in New Zealand. But let's start with what's happened this week. So this week we have the South African women in Australia. They were playing their first ODI of the tour. It's a 3-match ODI series as well. South Africa, let's check in the summary. I think they won the toss and chose to bat first, and it was a disaster of all proportions. They got bowled out 505. Worst thing that could happen is Marizanne Cup retiring hurt. She scored only 50. It looked like the scorecard looks like a telephone box. The only other player to score in double figures was Nadine de Klerk with 18 and Chloe Tryon with 10. South Africa got to 105, and then Australia came back and demolished. They won by 8 wickets. They got to the winning runs in the 19th wicket. So they won by 8 wickets and 176 balls remaining. Tim, I know I'm really worried. And this is it. And it's always been about the batting with me. In as much as the bowling is important and you need to take wickets, it comes down to the batting, especially for the Proteas women, because you can bat yourselves out of any situation, no matter how bad your bowling lineup is or not that good, because obviously they're missing Shubnam. But you can't give your bowlers 105 runs and think that they can win the game from there. Something fundamentally is wrong with the batting lineup. After Tasman and Laura Wolfart, if they don't give you a start or a platform, you don't get much outside of Chloe Tryon and Marizanne Cup, and then the question is obviously your 3 and your 4, and also someone at 7, and this team just is underwhelming with the bat, and that's my worry throughout the season, even going into test matches, because the longer the game becomes, the more glaring the disparities are with this team.
It's like the Pretoria Capitals. It's exactly that's what it is. If Will Jacks and Phil Salt don't come off, they don't score runs. We've got exactly the same problem. Despite the fact that we know the quality of Marizanne Camp is, if those two girls at the top don't score runs, we don't make runs. We don't not only win, we don't make runs. And that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you thought that could possibly happen because the wickets in Australia are consistent. You know what the ball is going to do in Australia. It was that we might score some runs.
Hmm.
We've got girls there that can actually score runs if they get themselves in. 50 overs is a long time to bat.
Yeah,
The fact that they didn't do that in that game, that taught us nothing. That result,
yeah. You got
nothing
to
at
give
all.
yourself a chance, and they've got another ODI on Wednesday. You just hope for a better showing. You just got to give yourself a chance. Try use up all the 50 overs. I think when Marizan got injured, people are using that as an excuse. Look at that batting card. It's just not it. I'm just sad that I'm a fan of Alana King. As you know, I'm a fan of all leg spinners, so just throw them my way. She just spun a web around South Africa, and so there isn't much to be happy about in Australia. They have the second game coming through on Wednesday as the ice cream truck passes me. And yeah, we'll get hopefully it'll be a better showing. You just need about a 230, 240. Then we can then talk about why the bowlers are missing a out and out pacer. Let us have that discussion, because I think from
Yeah,
a batting perspective, we've got girls, ladies who can bat well, but it's just a situation of putting them in the right position, right? I like Marizana for. I think she gives you that Jacques Carlos esque type of role with an all rounder, and it allows you to have an extra batter. So use it, right? But outside of that, also, is there something fundamentally wrong or off with our batters? We've been talking about bowling the whole time. The only question I'm having is what interventions are being put in to ensure that the Proteas women um, have a what would you say, have the best chance of succeeding? I know in the and then the next game we're going to talk about the men's now, but they're talking about this little tomato little structure that can create pitches for all types of conditions in New Zealand, and all the New Zealand professionals are using it during the winter. Maybe it might be something that we need to consider, but we have sun all year round, so it's just about trying to get our ladies playing high quality opposition, and the ladies who are doing well are the ones who are playing the big bashes, the hundreds, and all of these tournaments. And you want, except for Tasman, but Tasman's going to get her shot now. You want the others to kind of step up and do the same. So yeah, so that's sad news to start off with, but we've got better news coming along. We're gonna go to the SA under 19. This week they came up against Sri Lanka. There was another game earlier in the week which they won, but they came up against Sri Lanka in a must-win game with incredible proportions, because the Super Six is very weird. I don't know how we are in the semis, but we haven't played Australia, but they're in our group. It's the math's not mathing, but it's fine. It's okay. They played Sri Lanka. Gwena Mapaka came through, but to start off with, Luandre Pretorius and Steve Stark at the top, you kind of feel like the Pretoria Capitals needed Steve Stark, and the Paul Royals, who on a 4-game losing streak, would have loved to have Luandre Pretorius as well as Gwena Mapaka in their team right now. Luandre scored 71 in that game. Steve scored 22 of 17, and there were the opening partnership of 63. The middle order still bothers me, but that low order is filing. Ramashin Pillay got 27, Riley Norton on 41 to get to 232. So it was a rear guard action with this team. But Gwena Mapaka, 6 for 21. It's his third 5 wicket more haul in the World Cup. I think it's fourth in 2 World Cups. He's got a record for that now in international cricket, and I'm not gonna compare him to Kagiso, but I'd love for him and Kagiso to bowl together next year in a test match and have them just bring the fire, or even in an ODI. But I'd love them to bring the fire, because this kid is levels above anyone in his age group, and we've seen with them winning the One Day Cup, the Division Two One Day Cup, that he has it even more against guys he's going to be joining once this tournament ends. And so yeah, I'm excited for them. They play India on tomorrow in Benoni.
Tomorrow.
So, yeah, in a World Cup semi-final. Last time we were in a World Cup semi-final was when 10 years ago. So I don't know, but we might have a team on our hands here, Tim.
I'm just glad we're not playing Australia. That's all. That's all. I'm
Because those
saying.
kids are
I'm just
also
gonna.
very good.
Um. Look. Yeah. What has happened with that other 19 side is there's been small improvements as the tournament has gone on. That's been the key for me. The fact that the batters now are not all clicking, but they are
Mm-hmm.
fighting. They're fighting for their
Yeah.
wicket. They're not giving it away. Um, I think people like Riley Norton is becoming a very, very interesting cricketer. I think he is a real sort of all-round package
Yeah.
for the team. So yeah, look, it's all in the right direction. The team is improving. More players are contributing. But if we're going to win it, we're winning it because of Mbaka. There is no doubt about that. If we
You
go
need
all the
Gwena
way,
to blast
it's
everybody out.
if we go win all the way, it's going to be Gwena that's gonna win it for us. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so it's good, all good.
Yeah, Riley took the other 4 wickets in that game. So Gwena took 6. Riley took 4. So yeah, we have something. Good luck to Coach Malibonga Maketa, and Captain Joan James in the semi-final tomorrow. We'll be watching eagle-eyed, hoping that you guys make it through in a place I called Son of My Sorrow, but it won't be. It'll be the son of India's sorrows tomorrow. Next topic of discussion is in what happened this week. South Africa finally made it to New Zealand, and the first ball was bowled, and we all looked at each other going, this could be quite interesting, because Tapu Mareki took a wicket on the first ball in his debut, which is always amazing. And then Dane Patterson gave us those lovely trademark outswingers that caught the edge. And then we were like, okay, we're in business here. And then ensued probably the worst 8 hours of cricket those guys will ever experience when when they say this is test cricket, those guys experienced it live and with so much drama, with that mammoth partnership between Ravindra and Kane Williamson. But now obviously New Zealand have bowled out for 511 because Captain Neil Brunt became a superstar spinner, the one we know who he is. Like, he's an all-rounder ball spin. We're happy for him, and I thought maybe they would have wanted to have Dane Pete, but I guess Neil Brunt kind of fit the mold for the spinning options there. And now South Africa 80 for 4, chasing leather, lots and lots of runs behind. Tim, initial thoughts of the first 2 days, and then we'll go through how they can win.
So I thought for the most part the bowlers fought hard. And that was the area of concern for me, was the bowling. That was slightly too light-hearted, and not light in terms of pace. That's what it missed. But this first 2 sessions, it was evens. Honestly, the first 2 sessions on day 1, it was evens. 125 for 2, I think.
Even was very good.
Even the commentator said on another day they could have 4 or 5 here. There were plenty of plays and misses. But as you say, Test cricket is Test cricket. And when you get a chance, you've got to take it. And Kane Williamson drop when he was on 45 by any more. That was it. That was the moment. That was the moment to put pressure on a decent, on a good New Zealand side. But their mood swings with Kane Williamson. Kane Williamson fails. Things are a bit more tricky when that happens. So if that happens, anything could have happened. I thought Mareki, I thought Swart, and I thought Patterson bowled really well in those first 2 sessions. Or a fair less so. But the other 3, I thought they stuck to their guns. You didn't get those wickets. That last session was always going to happen. That was always going to happen. You don't get those wickets, you pay the price. And then it's just one-way traffic from there. We fought better. We fought again today. We fought again with the ball. I thought, we never really gave up. Um, I think it was Brian decided on day one. He said, we're not going to give up. That's clear.
Mm.
At the batting, the reason that happened, the reason that those wickets happen, is
It's
because of
because
that
they were in the field for
extra
10 hours.
that and the extra yard of pace. Matt Henry and Jamison, instead of
Mm.
being 125, are 135 to 40. That extra bit of pace makes all the difference. The batsman has less time to play his shots, less time to get into position. That makes a huge difference to
Yeah.
us.
The other thing I saw that I was surprised they didn't adjust to was the length. I thought they were bowling slightly shorter than what they were supposed to, and I think it was confirmed with New Zealand's innings, where New Zealand were bowling a lot fuller and were able to get wickets. And I thought that we would try and push the boundaries, especially a guy like Duan would try and push it up there. Doesn't matter if you get hit for four, but give yourself a chance of getting an edge or bringing in your catches, right? And for me, that was the one thing. But I took heart from the fact that they bowled them out and they fought hard and they just kept on going. I just and the thing for me, and this is going to go to the batting, and we just need a bat for tomorrow. Bat the whole of day three. Give yourself a chance at drawing this match. I think the win is a tough possibility, but give yourself a chance at drawing this match, get through the follow on, bat as deep as possible. And the guys who are in there right now have the ability to bat. They're betting and batted very responsibly. And I enjoyed that a lot. Zubair Hamza, to a certain extent, he got an unlucky one with the ball popping up, but that kind of gives you this indication of how New Zealand are bowling, right? They're willing to give the ball some flight. They're willing to be a little bit more aggressive against the South African Tigers. And I thought some of our field placings weren't as aggressive. I thought Neil Brunt was very conservative very quickly, even when you're chasing leather. When you already have a 150 run partnership, another four is not going to hurt you. So put in the catcher, right? Give yourself a chance to take a wicket. But he'll learn. It's his first game. He's got no one to lean on. Apart from obviously KP, who's been in the setup before, but he's a youngster. There's no prime old Protea who could have been there to help them. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Um, and yeah, because I think if Dean's there, and I said it, if Dean's there, this doesn't happen. Dean's there, they're out for about 350, not because he's going to be bowling them out, but I think he would have given a different spin on the captaincy. And I also do think the composition of the side would have been a lot different. I think Ruan de Swart is a very good cricketer, and I think everyone can see that. I really enjoyed him bowling. Thought he was quite unlucky. But to a certain extent, Duan is a shadow of himself. And the other question, obviously, going with a frontline spinner, that kind of changes because now you've got obviously your bat. We bat to eight, it seems, because Clive Fortain can bat, right, and he's number eight. So
Yeah.
so you kind of were like, okay, Shooks, I kind of get what you're trying to do, but then the question was, why didn't you bat first? Give yourself a chance of getting into the game, giving yourself a chance at batting through, and giving your bowlers an opportunity to settle in. But I think they went the other way where they were trying to get their batters to settle in. They had six debutants, and yeah, so we'll see about that, Tim. I think for us, it's just getting through tomorrow, session by session. Bedingham seems like he's there. He's going to be there for a while, and so I'm happy about that. Keegan Peterson also, you kind of got a sense that he has a job to do, and those are the two Proteas who New Zealand would have faced anyway. So let's see if they can't actually do something, right? Because if they can score 200 runs, we can score 200 runs too. Well, the partnership, but you get my drift.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
it'll be interesting to see how Rwanda swap bats here, in that middle order as well. So, all's not lost. The draw's still on the cards. You just need to find a way to get to 200 and 311. That's what you need to do. So
Yeah.
there needs to be a big, big partnership tomorrow to kind of take us there. If we can get over that follow online, you have them batting in again. You can get them out cheaply, and then you can regroup and see if you can't get a target that's 300 or so, and then you can play from there. And
Yeah.
then if it needs be, I back this team to bat out the final day if they need to batten down the hatches and hold on. And to a certain extent, you saw that spirit of never giving up. I think that's what's going to happen today, because they came out to bat like that. It's just, yeah, as you say, it's just a little bit quicker. It's too it's just, and to a certain extent that's like, well, okay, so where's Luto Pamela? I know he had his injury issues. If we had a guy like Luto in the side, would it have been different? Because he can bowl the 130, 140, can push it. He's the one of the guys who is available. Oguhle, I understand Duan's a former pro chip, but Duan is a shell of himself, and you can see it this season in 4-day cricket. It's like everyone's figured him out. He came with tricks. They got him lots of wickets. Now it's just like, well, you're just a guy who plays in county cricket at 130 because someone told him that he doesn't need a ball at 140. Whoever that person was needs to, yeah. There's serious conversations to be had. Okay, let's go to SA20. We had an interesting week this week. I'm just going to run through the SA20 results as they come. So the first game was last week Sunday. Look at the bottom of the screen. Last week Monday, the MI Cape Town played the Joburg Super Kings. That was a rain-affected game. It was shortened to about 8 overs. MI Cape Town scored 80 for 3. They were rain-affected, but then the Joburg Super Kings had to score 90 to win, and they did that with aplomb. They opened with Leus Deploy and Faf du Plessis. Faf started a week of runs by getting 50, and Leus Deploy got 41. It's interesting because obviously now Reza Hendricks, Tim, is now being shoved down the order, and we saw that later this week as well.
Yeah, it's the right way to go about it for the Joburg Super Kings. There are a couple of teams that got their team correct, and I think that's largely what's put the JSK into the playoffs. Getting
Yeah.
that 11th right, playing Wayne Madsen as well. I called it a couple of weeks before they got there. They got there in the end eventually. It just solidifies that batting order, and it's made the difference.
Yes, it has made the difference, and they needed Pretoria Capitals to go on a catastrophic run, and you could say they did, and it started on Tuesday when they played the Durban Supergiants. The Capitals batted first. They scored 166 for 9. Then the Durban Supergiants managing to get no, the Durban Supergiants batted first and they scored 174 for 9. But Capitals could only get to 166 for 9. That was the Junior Dala game against his former team. Junior Dala, well, he's a Titans man. He got 5 for 26 in a very surprising performance because everyone was surprised that he was on the field. Matthew Briscoe scored 73 or 46. And this then precipitated the downward run for the Super Giants. The Joburg Super Kings then went to hosted the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. It was a horrible game. They just going back to their old selves, getting bowled out for 78. Excuse me. And then the Sunrisers getting 79 for 1. Patrick Kruger, 3 for 8. Dan Worrell, 3 for 20 in a very impressive bowling performance. But the Sunrisers Eastern Cape, who pushed their way with this into the qualifier and cemented their place in the playoffs alongside Durban's Super Giants. Then the next game after that was on the 1st of February. Pretoria Capitals played a doubleheader against the first of the doubleheader against MI Cape Town. You needed one of these two teams to win both for either of them to have a chance. They couldn't have split because then it brought the Joburg Super Kings back. But this is how it unfolded. First game in Centurion, MI Cape Town went wild. They scored 248 for 4. Ryan Rickleton reminding everybody that he actually does deserve to be in the America. 90 or 45. Jeff Brevis got 66 or 32. Pretoria Capitals couldn't get there. They got 214 for 8. And they lost by 34 runs. Tim, that 90 from Ryan Rickleton was something else. He reminded us all how good he is. Should he go to the World Cup at this point in time because his tournament's over? So would you be angry if he's not on the plane?
At this point, yes. I think it's fair to say he's done the business. He was on the fringe just before the tournament. I think you've got to go with him. I really do. And I say that with the provisor. that a lot of the keepers are doing well at the moment, and the fact that Quinton's going, is he not? So he's gonna go.
But
Um,
when is he
it then
going?
becomes
That's the question.
it, he is. He's going. He's going.
Because Quinton's going to be in America because he only retired from ODIs.
Are we not talking T20 World Cup?
Yes, what I'm saying is he's going to the T20 World Cup. The only format he's not playing is ODI. So that's the question. But obviously he has to tell us if he's available.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's another story for another
yeah.
day. Okay, let's go to the next set of fixtures. Um, so Paul Royals at the bottom of the screen played the Sunrise Eastern Cape in a battle for number 2, as you would call it. And the Sunrisers Eastern Cape came through. They scored 208 for 4 in Paul. The Paul Rose found themselves 164 for 7, losing by 44 runs. Marco Janssen with an innings of 71, not out of 31. Liam Dawson taking 2 for 27. That effectively was the second loss for the Paul Royals this week, and it would have led to 3 more losses for the 2 more losses for the Paul Royals. They really did struggle in the final back end of the tournament. Next game was the doubleheader on Saturday, but you had the first one was MI Cape Town against Pretoria Capitals. MI Cape Town needing to win to keep their chances alive. So to Pretoria Capitals, this one went down to the wire, to the final over, and the Pretoria Capitals managing to get through and over the line. Yeah, so Cape Town scored 163 for 9. The Capitals managed to get to 167 for 6. Senema Mutisami and Cal Verena helping the Capitals get to that total, which meant that the Capitals needed the Joburg Super Kings to lose in order for them to make it into the playoffs. And that game happened 5 minutes after this game ended, which was the best TV ever, because you just move from one to the other, and you knew the equation. The equation was simple for the Joburg Super Kings. It was win, and win did they do. The Joburg Super Kings, Durban Super Giants batted first in that game. They managed to get to 203 for 6. There was a point where it looked like it was going to be 190. Then we got the Clausen show. Clausen went berserk. I think he scored 40 or 15 balls with Chemo Paul at the other end. It was just raining sixes at the Wanderers, and you just wondered if that was enough to not force the Super Kings to go through. And you also questioned which Super Kings was going to come out. Well, the one that scores runs came out. Faf got 57 of 29, Lester Boy 57 of 47 in a 100-run opening stand. Wayne Matson got 44 off 29, and then it was ended up to Mo and Ali, because there was a point where Nur Ahmed took 1 run off the 17th over, and then Mo and Ali proceeded to score a lot. I think they needed 38 off. They needed, what is it? Was in the mid 20s to off of 12 balls, and they managed to get home in some fashion, hitting sixes everywhere around the ground, and Donovan Ferreira coming in and having to hit 2 boundaries to take the Joburg Super Giants home, and they did that really well. And so that was the end. Oh, not the end. There was one more game. The Paul Royals and the Sunrise Eastern Cape. Paul needed to win to stop the loss of 3 games in a row, but they didn't, because the Sunrise Eastern Cape Quebeca scored 100, and they bowled them out for 159 for 7. And the Sunrise Eastern Cape got to 165 for 5. Patrick Kruger, 26 of 7. Showing his value in this tournament, especially coming in as an injury reserve. Othniel Bartman took 2 for 33. He's been phenomenal in this tournament. And the Paul Royals going to the playoffs with 4 losses in a row. And Tim, this week was fascinating. I think the playoffs week, or the final week of regular season in the SA20 is just always dramatic, and it gave us some drama, even though we had 3 teams solidified for the playoffs by the time we got to the weekend.
Well, that's because there was something to play for in every single game, except for the last game. So
Yeah.
every single game mattered in a sense. Yes, okay, they were through to the playoffs, but where they were going to play in the playoffs, who they were going to play in the playoffs, was still in question. And that's one of the the fantastic things about the competition. That every game, bar one,
Yeah.
has meant something, has played for something, has mattered. No dead rubbers. We're not playing a 12-team tournament with
Yeah.
750 games over 3 months where there's just loads of dead rubbers all over the show.
Yeah.
Um, and
I
I
think
just, I,
I get your hint. I get your hint. You're
all I say
strong.
is I just hope it stays this way. That's all. Because I hear
Yeah.
rumors of expansion, and
Just
I
two more
just
teams,
hope
Tim. We
it's
just need two more teams. That's all. Um,
there.
but so anyway, the table, final table, Sunrise Eastern Cape finishes at the top with a really, really great week. Last week having and then it ended up only losing two games and one washout Durban Super Giants, finishing in second. But sadly, there's no advantage to winning to coming first, and the only advantage is coming in the top two, and that's you getting a chance at the qualifier and also another chance in the second qualifier. Coming in number three were the Paul Rocks. They were so good for the first part of the season. They went 6 wins in a row, and 5 wins in a row, and then they proceeded to lose. They went was it 5-1, and then they proceeded to lose the last 4 matches. They should be very worried wherever they are. Then the best of the rest, the Joburg Super Kings, coming through in the table, is that fourth eliminator spot. And then you have 5 and 6 being the Capitals and MI Cape Town. Tim, what went wrong for the Capitals and what went wrong for MI Cape Town?
Okay, so let's go to my hometown. Let's go to my homeboys. My homeboys got it all wrong in terms of team selection, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of captain. I thought, particularly the back end when it started to get nitty gritty. I thought
Yeah.
Pollard's captaincy was very poor. He was playing people but not bowling them. So he was playing Van Heerden, who was a bowler, and he
Yeah.
didn't bowl. Made no sense. Then in the must-win game, he plays Thomas Caber, who has been magnificent. He's been arguably one of the finds of the tournament, not just of my Cape Town, and he doesn't
And he
bowl.
doesn't bowl him. Yeah.
The constant selection of Liam Livingston. Now, Liam Livingston in MSL was a revelation. He was magnificent. That's why he came back, and it made sense. But his constant selection when he was failing time and time again made no sense. So
Yeah.
I got a combination of things. Over at the Capitals, the constant selection of that middle order, sticking with that middle order of Tennis De Bruin, Riley Rousseau, and who was the third one? I can't think of the third one. My mind escapes me. But Colin Ingram. Colin Ingram.
Yes.
They played the majority of the games throughout the tournament. He eventually got rid of Colin Ingram, but too little, too late for me. You're playing guys who,
Yeah.
one, we've spoken about before, he plays no cricket. Tennis De Bruin. No cricket at all for 12 months. This is what he plays. Then you've got Riley and Colin, great cricketers. They've come to the end.
Just horrible
They've come to the
spot
end.
of form, looking very old.
They've come to the end. They've come to the end. This is the end. They shouldn't return. They should have gone with. Look, I understand they would have played Stock if he was available, and I understand that. But we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. Michael Pretorius not getting a game throughout the tournament made no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, it
So
was, and Matthew Bose getting a limited opportunity, even though he also is an all rounder, can actually bat in the top six. It was just, I didn't get their selections right, and if you look at how the Joburg Super Kings ended up, they were like, okay, cool. The Joburg Super Kings, they couldn't find someone to replace Reeza, even though Reeza wasn't batting well. What they ended up doing was pushing up Les Duploy, who was the batter on form, to bat with Faf, who we thought was getting old, but oh no, we were so wrong. And then bringing in Wayne Matson for Makanya, and Ronan Hardman sitting on the bench. They really like the JSK really did try. And then Moin Ali and for Donovan Ferreira were as advertised. Moeen, had some massive shots in that final game. And Donovan Ferreira, just obviously he struggled, but he managed to get the important runs. And there was a game I think he scored a 50 off of like 20 balls, because that's who he is. That's how deadly he is. And it's just putting in the guys who are on form. And I think for Pretoria Capitals, there were so many guys who were not on form in that tournament, and it couldn't happen. For MI Cape Town, I was really sad, because obviously that opening partnership of Rassie and Ryan Rickleton was it. It
Yeah,
gives you the
that
foundation.
yeah
After
yeah.
that, it just fell off a cliff. And even from a bowling perspective, like Thomas Caber, incredible season, like bowled super nicely, really really awesome, surprising a few teams. Guys haven't faced him before. That's that all surprise element. But you couldn't do it, and it was those captaincy moments that you spoke about. So it's quite sad. But MI Cape Town second playoffs missed in the SA20. They just don't know playoffs.
They've got and they've
And
got and they've got and they've gone through two coaches. It's not the coach's
yes,
fault. It's
yeah.
recruitment. Recruitment is the issue here, not the
Well,
coach.
look, they're the one team that likes to pre-buy players. They pre-bought an army, and that army's not working for them anymore. Um, yeah. So they need to really think about it. I don't even think a guy like Karen Pollard can play in this
No,
tournament
no.
anymore. So that's something that they're going to have to look at, right? So now let's look at the four teams that are in the playoffs. We're going to have fixtures. Oh, let's go through the fixtures. So the four teams that are in playoffs. We start with the qualifier one. Tomorrow, Sunrisers Eastern Cape take on Durban Super Giants in Cape Town. Tim, when I look at this game, I see two teams who are on form. There's nothing that I can choose between the two teams. They've given us an entertaining game. The only question I want to ask you, will Simon Harmer be playing, firstly, but will he be the guy to give the Durban Super Giants, send the Durban Super Giants to another qualifier? Or will John Smuts, who batted really nicely actually in Johannesburg with Van Mulder, be the guy who gets pushes the Sunrisers to qualify too, and then they sit until Saturday for the final?
This is a flip of a coin. Both teams. When we did our prediction, we sort of said, just watch out for these boys. Watch out.
Mm,
There's something cooking at both places for various reasons that is they're doing well. It could go either way. I'm gonna go Sunrisers because they've done it before, and also because they are behaving like champions. If you look at the way
yes.
that they are playing, if you look at the way they're finishing games, they are finishing games as champions. They're finishing games as if every game matters. I think to watch out for. He was sort of going to be my MVP, but I think that would have been a stretch. But
Hmm.
I think an unsung hero, particularly the last couple of games, is Liam Dawson. I think
Yes.
Liam Dawson is going to be very, very important. The way that he defended the 200 the other day was an exceptional piece of bowling. I think somebody like him is going to be very, very important to the Sunrisers.
Yeah.
But look, as I say, it could go either way.
Hmm.
Klaasen can win a game on his own. Klaasen can win this game on his
He
own with no
he
help at all.
is. What I don't get is why they don't want to bring him in earlier. Like, why do you want to go through the whole Vian Mulder John Smuts situation when you're two down? Just throw the man in. Give him as many balls as possible. He can play all formats. He's that type of a cricketer. Quite frankly, putting him in at the back end, asking him to do miracles and turn 160s into 200s in 3 overs is, I think, look, it's a testament to the man, right? But it's the same argument we've always had with AB de Villiers and David Miller. Like, coaches just want to hold firepower back, just hold them back, hold them back. The man came in the 15th over in Johannesburg. I'm something going was there in the 10th. He'd have 100. I just didn't get it. Like, give the people what they want, DSG. We want Hannah Clausen. We love the others. I think they're great and well played. But
Uh,
imagine if you're
yeah,
batting with Hannah Clausen on the other side. Like, oh,
yeah,
come on. Like, and that's the thing about DSG is like that little lineup, that batting lineup, the movement up and down. I'm not a fan of, but Lance Klusener seems to be onto something, so that's something that's
yeah.
something for that. So then the next game after that will be in Johannesburg. Paul Royals taking the Joburg Super Kings. I'm picking the Super Kings here, Tim. Do you know why?
Why?
Because Paul have lost 4 in a row, and I
Yes.
don't know how you can fix 4 in a row. And so
Yeah,
that's where I'm sitting going. You guys just are losing, like badly. Even as though
yeah,
Cinderella, the ball is after midnight. And it's going to be sad if Paul goes out because they started off really well. And I'm looking at momentum. JSK has some momentum. They come out of a week where they've won 2 out of 3 and a big qualifier against Durban Super Giants, chasing down 203, which was also one of I think it's the highest chase in T20s at the Wanderers. And so for me, I look at that going, okay, fine. That less deployed, Faf to Plessis opening partnership works and it works well. And I think they might, the Power Royals might find themselves in a little bit of trouble going forward. It just seems like everyone's just off form at the wrong time. But it is the big time. It is the playoffs, so um, there might be something that they can do. But it's an intriguing contest, Tim, because Joburg Super Giants have played Super Kings have played horrible all season long, but they found themselves in. And it's somehow funny that the guy who sneaks in might be the one that goes on to win it. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So we'll see how that's going to go. But yeah, so that's essentially what do you think is going to happen in this game?
I agree. I agree. Momentum is very important, particularly in the T20 format. I'm gonna go with JSK again. If Par are gonna win, it's gonna be a one man show. If Miller and Butler don't come off, game over.
Yeah.
Finish.
Mm.
Finish the club. It doesn't matter what happens. It's over. That's
Yeah.
the problem at the moment. It's those guys. If they go and they score runs, they win the game. If they don't, they fail.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem for the moment. Uh, when we did the preview, we did say that they were a little bit light. We said that. We said they got a great bowling lineup, and I still think they got a
Mm.
great bowling lineup. But they're a little bit light on that batting. That's the issue for me going forward. It needs a 75 or 40 from Mitchell, and
Yeah.
we, we gave him the plaudits in that game
MVP.
when he played it, but since then he hasn't really found his form, and nobody else has been scoring runs. So JSK, if made the right changes at the right time, they might not have worked out, but the point is they made them. They said they needed to make a change. They made a change, and they are favourites for me at the
Well,
moment.
yeah. I think Gerald's still out. So I don't think there's a chance for him to come in. But if he was fit, do you move Lazard out for Gerald?
No, no,
No.
I'm
Yeah.
going with the winning team. I'm rewarding the guys for sticking it in, and
Mm.
I'm not making that change. Um, Lazard has been a tad expensive at times, but he's been a wicket taker.
He just takes wickets. Yeah, and he finished the regular season top of the wicket taking list. So
Yeah,
it's going to be
exactly.
quite an interesting game. And then obviously the loser of the game of the eliminator will on Thursday meet the winner of the eliminator. Sorry, will meet the loser of the qualifier at the Wanderers on Thursday. So effectively, you play on Wednesday, you play on Thursday because you came in third and fourth. And yeah, so that's going to be an interesting game as well. And then they'll be playing for the right to meet whoever wins tomorrow's game in the final. Tim, of the 4 teams that are left, who are you picking for the final?
Okay, so it's Sunrise. Sunrise are definitely in that final. I think
Okay,
that's a
so they
for
win
me.
tomorrow.
I'm gonna say Clarkson's gonna fail for the first time in I don't know how long. And then
So he's going to
I'm
have a
gonna go
bad week.
JSK. Yeah, I'm going to go JSK. I'm going to
The
JSK
Clausen's going to
Sunrisers
have a
final.
very bad week this week. It seems coming from Tim, so he's going to have one bad week out of the 52, and then happens now. I tend to agree with Tim. I think it might be a JSK SEC final, and then the question is obviously, can you win? You've got a team that's already in the final that's won it before, and a team trying to win it with a lot of experience, and that's going to be, it could be an interesting game. So it's going to be interesting. You should check it out. Let's have a look at some of the stats at the end of the regular season. Ryan Rickleton finishing with 530 runs, the top run scorer, 132 runs away from the next guy, which was Josh Butler. Matthew Bretsker's on 383. He tried to be like also two approaches opener. No. Hanno Klaassen, 350. Imagine if they batted Hanno Klaassen earlier, what that number would have looked like. Rassi van der Dissen at the top, Elias Duploy, John Smuts, Carl Verena, Will Jacks, Jordan Henderson. A lot of the guys here have some of the guys here have only played a few. Like Kyle Vereen has played a few less games than everyone else. So it's really good to see Kyle top of in the top 10 run scorers. From a wickets taking perspective, Lazard Williams 15 wickets, with Dan Worrell as well. Wayne Parnell coming in the 14, Lungi Ngiti on 13. I think Lungi's been on 13 for 2 weeks now. Kind of feels like he hasn't taken a wicket in 2 weeks, which is kind of weird, but I know he hasn't. But yeah. And then Othniel Bartman on 12. I expected a little bit more from him, but Dan Worrell took a whole lot more. Nur Ahmed, he played half the games. He's going to go home as well, took a fifer. He's on 12 points, 12 wickets. Reece Topley, Keshav Maharaj, Mark Jansen. Marcus Stoinis, who's leaving, only to be joined by another spinner, Tim. That's Ashton Agar. For the Sunrise. It looks like Zulu loves these Australians, man.
I love the fact that we are getting Australians in their season. That is, I think it's telling. I think we're getting, and we're not getting guys that have been retired for like 3 years and just looking for their pensions. We're getting guys who are at the top of their games. I think it's a great thing. Just to point out for me, the most important thing from the stats perspective was the batters. So last season we struggled as the locals. The locals struggled as a whole. It was just the seasoned Proteas that were doing well. If you look at the batters, so you got Rickleton, Bretsky, Klaassen, Rassi, Smuts, Verena. So all those guys are striking the ball at 140 plus. Last season we didn't see that. Last season it was 120s, mid 120s. That is a huge plus when you get people like Britsky coming through, Verena. That's a huge plus for the local players.
Has Reza lost a spot in the T20 side after this?
There is an element that you stick with an incumbent. There is an element of that. It's just a matter of how long that theory lasts.
Unless if Reza has a game tomorrow.
T20 cricket is it has a recency bias as well, in my opinion. So if he plays tomorrow and he makes 70, right, okay, then he's in. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's how it goes. It's now become a discussion. I think pre-SA20, it was not a discussion. He was playing. It's now become a discussion.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how Rob picks his team to go to America. Okay, MVP of the week, Tim. Who's your guy?
I'm gonna go, even though he's gonna have a bad week coming up. I'm gonna go Klaassen. I'm gonna go Heinrich. The pressure, the manner, the butting down the order, the manner in where the team is where he finds himself, where he finds the team. The team was never actually cruising. Often the team is not cruising, and that is why I give an extra weight in those runs. They were not 70, 80, 90 runs. It was 30 here, 40 there, but it was 30 and 40 strike rating of
200.
180 plus.
Mm.
Um, so for me, it's all those combinations. It's Heinrich. It was difficult to pick this week, but I think because I think I'm predicting he's gonna have a fail. I'm predicting it's got to be Heinrich for me.
I'm gonna go with Faf. He did the "I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed" call that I made last week. He scored two half centuries this week, opening, leading from the front, leading his team into the playoffs, knowing they needed 204 to win at the Wanderers. He stepped up, he fronted up, he batted really well. Freakish wicket to lose, but he played in a really great innings. The other guy I'd have picked was Les Deploy. I thought Les this week was really great in getting the JSK through the door. So that's the MVP of the week. Next one, innings of the week. Tim, who's your guy?
It's from a team that are out. That's the Kyle's 116 not
Yes,
out of 52. Um,
yes.
Man alive, man alive. We knew he was a stroke maker. We knew he tended to score quickly.
Mm.
But that innings, I was not sure. I thought that innings was there in his locker. Man alive. The game was done and dusted. They still ended up losing, chasing that 248. But man alive, was
He
that
gave
an
them a
innings and a
chance.
yes, it was an innings and a half. And they were only
Yeah,
like 20, 25 short in the end. But man alive, that
yeah.
innings had everything.
My,
Absolutely everything.
we should all be apologizing to Kyle. We were unfamiliar with your game. Another sneaky option for the World Cup is Kyle Verreynne, as well. Um, innings of the week for me. He lost, but I was so entertained by this. Nur Ahmed against the JSK when he got 2 for 16 with that over of 1 run in the 17th. He was, oh my word, unplayable. Like it was like watching Rashid Khan 7 years ago. Just nobody knew what to do with him, and like to concede only 1 run in the back end of a T20 with batsmen who were set said a lot for me. And he, they like I know the Afghan players might be leaving for the playoffs, but he needs to stay. Like if DSG have a chance at winning this thing, he's the guy who needs to stay. And I kind of think that's why they bought Ashton Agar because I think one of them might be going. Well, I think both of them might be going for that ODI series that Afghanistan will be playing against. I think it's Sri Lanka. So, yeah, he was like it wasn't a losing cause, and it kind of brought Durban Super Giants back in, and then they fast bowlers threw it all away. So yeah, it was unbelievable to watch. I think he just used every trick in the book. So that is innings of the week. Who was your surprise of the week, Tim?
Um, Let me have a look, see if I got here. It's not so much a surprise, I guess, but more a. Oh no! I've got one here. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes.
Mm-hmm.
It was Patrick Berger. Patrick Berger.
Oh
Not Berger.
yes,
Kruger.
Kruger. Yes,
Patrick
I knew you
Kruger.
were talking about.
Patrick
Yeah,
Kruger. Um, um, I'm glad he's getting games. He's got games at the back end of the tournament, and it's one of those guys who he's done a lot of good stuff domestically. Come through the
yeah,
system. 26 off 7, boys. 26 off 7 deliveries, and they went on to win that game.
yeah.
There were obviously reasons for it, but 26 off 7, and just yeah, really pleased for him.
Yeah. So look, I think in a week when Marco Jansen scored 71 of 30, who was my one of my picks for surprise of the week, Patrick Kruger had an incredible week with bat and ball. And he put himself up there as a guy who should be getting millions in this tournament. He's a guy you want, right? He's good in the middle order, and for the where the level of cricket this is, he's at home for this, and so I'm really happy for that. My surprise of the week is Junior Dollar, 5 for 26. Um, he might become very important for them in the playoffs. And I was really happy with him. He had a really all-round performance. He also fielded well. He was just everywhere, and he doesn't get a lot of game time. But to come out in your first game in the SA20 and to take 5 for 26, that tells me so much about you and as a cricketer and everything else. And yeah, I was really impressed by him. I thought, you know, it's that whole adage of keeping yourself ready, and he was ready and he took his opportunity. Didn't play again in that week, which again surprised me. But yeah, played because I look at Navino Haq and I was like, no, 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 no.
No,
Um,
he hasn't been great. But
yeah. So
uh, yeah,
yes, Tim.
I was just gonna say that that's what we want. We want guys that we know, you and I know very, very well, when they get their chance to take it.
Yeah,
Patrick
Thomas
Kruger,
Kaber, Patrick Kruger,
Thomas Caber, Junadala got their
Lazard.
chance and they've taken it. And
Yes,
that's what
Lazard
we want.
Williams,
That's
top of
no,
the
that's
wicket taking list. He should be in America as a cover for the bowlers because he is that good. He's really really good. Um, I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed. Who are you throwing this to this week?
it's the Par Royals. It's the Par Royals entire unit, coaching, batting, bowling, the whole bunch. They
Yeah,
were looking so good at the end of last week. They were looking primed for the top two spots. They were in a good position. They had arguably the best bowling unit in the competition. Had Butler flying. They had Miller flying. They had Mitchell from Purin, who was finding form. They were clicking, and the wheels just fell off. The
yeah,
wheels just fell off. So I'm not mad because they're not really my team as such, but I am disappointed in that the way that the wheels have come off.
yeah. My I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed goes to MI Cape Town. That's such a golden chance of qualifying, playing at home, and they just didn't have it in them. Yes, we spoke about Karen Pollard's deficiencies as captain, having Thomas Cable on the field, but still not bowling him at home at Newlands. This made no sense, and it's a waste of a season for Ryan Rickleton. That's the thing that irritates me the most. The guy scored 530 runs. He has no more chance of scoring any more runs, and I don't think he'll ever be caught by anyone. But for me, it was this is a type of a season where he can win it for you. All you needed to do was get into the playoffs, and Ryan could have actually won it for them. And that's my frustration was when you have the best player in the league, and he is the best player in the league, you can't waste such a season. You cannot. And it feels like a season wasted, not for Ryan, because Ryan's going to be a multimillionaire. But yeah, for me, in my Cape Town, Robbie P, really disappointed. I'm not mad because I know it's hard, but yeah, recruitment wise, yeah, I think we just need to think a little bit more. Great call on Thomas Caber, by the way. I love that. Play him more in without Rashid Khan. Just it's for me, it's a no brainer. And yeah, look, yeah, it is what it is. Pretoria Capitals, you know what you did. I'm actually not even disappointed. I'm not even mad. I'm like, yeah, well, you punished us last year. You couldn't win. Well, and after the auction, they looked like they were a very good side. So that's something that was quite an intriguing one. Okay, Tim, we're about to end. The final's going to be next week, Saturday, in Cape Town. Everybody, please enjoy the cricket this week. The Proteas are hopefully going to be fighting hard. Good luck to them. Proteas Women, good luck to you in that ODI series in Australia. And to Juan James and his men there in Benoni now. They were actually at the SA20 game on Saturday, looking all fly in their little what is it, team golf
Tracksuit?
shirts, whatever. It was no, it's too hot to wear tracksuit in Johannesburg this time of year. It was like those traveling kits, just golf shirt and shorts and tackies. And they were they were being egged on by these idiots of these supporters. The guys are, oh yes, you in the SA under 19. I'm like, oh, sometimes cricket fans, come on, guys, no. But it's good. They're getting exposure. But good luck to you guys. It's a
Yeah.
semi-final. Please beat India. Please, please, please beat India. If you do that and you're in that final, best believe you are going to have a packed house on Sunday. Packed house on Sunday in Benoni. And if it is against Australia, what a final is that? My only problem is I'm hoping I wish it was at a better ground. Um, but there's nothing we can do about that now unless we send them to the Wanderers. I don't know. But yeah, outside of that, Tim, have a great week. To everyone, enjoy the cricket. Watch all of it. We've got every South African international team playing right now, apart from the under 19 women. So you've got everything to watch. Outside of that, it's goodbye and lesale kakahiso.